Sometimes life seems like one big mystery. Things don't happen the way we expected, dreams seem distant, and challenges never-ending. Who has never felt lost along the way, questioning the reason for so much difficulty? Maybe you're looking at your life right now and thinking, why is this happening to me? Why is God silent? But here's a truth you need to hear with all your heart: God is never absent. He is working behind the scenes in your life. It can feel like prayers are going empty, that the sky is closed and that silence is the only answer. But God's silence does not mean inaction. Sometimes He is preparing something so grand that you can't even imagine it. Miracles are not in a hurry, they have the right time. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a second and think about this. How many times have you been at rock bottom and, even without knowing how, managed to get out? Maybe you didn't even notice it at the time, but God was there. He was there in every tear you shed, in every no that hurt, in every door that closed. God's plans are perfect. It may not be easy to believe that when everything seems to be falling apart. It's hard to see blessings in the midst of chaos, isn't it? But I want to tell you something important: God sees what you don't see. He knows what you don't know. Perhaps today you are facing unemployment, illness, loss, or disappointment so great that it seems impossible to recover. It's as if the ground has disappeared from beneath your feet. But listen, the story is not over yet. God doesn't just work in straight lines. He often takes us the long way around, not to punish us, but to prepare us. It is in the desert that we learn to truly trust. It is in scarcity that we learn to value small blessings. It is in silence that we learn to hear His voice. Think about Joseph in Egypt. Sold by his own brothers, thrown into a well, unjustly imprisoned. It felt like his life had been destroyed, that the dreams of greatness that God had given him were nothing more than an illusion. But even at rock bottom and inside prison, Jose never lost his faith. He knew that God's plans were greater than any adversity. And what happened? At the right time, God took him out of suffering and placed him in a place of honor. Joseph was not only blessed, he became a channel of blessing for his entire family and for an entire nation. God's time is different from yours. You may have been waiting for months, years, and the tired heart begins to lose hope. You look around and it seems like everyone is moving forward except you. Why is God taking so long? Has He forgotten me? No, He has not forgotten you. God is not delaying, He is whimsical. He knows the deepest desires of your heart. He knows how much you have prayed, cried, and fought. And He is in control. Sometimes what you want now isn't what you really need. God sees tomorrow, He sees what you cannot see. He can close a door today, because there is something much better waiting right there. Waiting hurts, but it also transforms. While you wait, God is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you. Don't be discouraged. In Isaiah 60 verse 22, it is written, "I am the Lord, at the right time I will make it happen quickly." This means that in His perfect timing, everything He promised will happen. When the time is right, the blessings will come so quickly you will hardly believe it. Miracles happen when we least expect. God specializes in miracles. He turns tears into laughter, pain into testimony, impossible things into reality. If you think you've reached your limit, know that God is just beginning. Fatigue may want to overcome you, but faith will sustain you. Remember when Peter walked on water? He sank the moment he took his eyes off Jesus and began to look at the wind and waves. That's who we are. When we look too much at problems, we start to sink. But when we keep our eyes fixed on God, we discover that we can overcome any difficulty. Whatever the situation, keep the faith. The miracle you've been waiting for could be just a step away. Sometimes it is at the last moment that God enters the scene, when everything seems lost. Not because He wants to test you beyond the limit, but because He wants you to know that it was His hand that sustained you. Blessings are on the way. You may not see it now, but something extraordinary is moving toward you. God is a loving Father, and He does not forget children who cry out for help. He is listening to your prayers, drying your tears, and preparing a future full of hope. If it's hard to believe today, remember the promises He made. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. You have not been forgotten. You are not alone. The God who created the universe, who made the sea part and who raised the dead, is taking care of every detail of your life. Even when you don't understand, trust. Even when you don't see it, keep believing. Trust and advance. Don't stop now. The journey may be long, but each step you take in faith is bringing you closer to the miracle that God has prepared. Maybe the process is more difficult than you expected, but miracles require perseverance. God honors those who don't give up. Put your trust in Him. Surrender your tired heart, your worries, your fears. Allow Him to take care of everything. The same God who made Sarah conceive in old age, who rescued Daniel from the lion's den and who healed the sick, is the God who is by your side now. When the storm seems to never end, it's easy to think that the sun will never shine again. But I want to remind you of one powerful thing: every storm has a purpose and a duration. She didn't come to stay. She came to teach, to shape, to strengthen. And when the rain passes, the sky will be bluer than ever, and you will be stronger than you thought you would be. Remember that the greatest victories are often born from the moments of greatest pain. Sometimes it is on the ground, when we think everything is lost, that God begins to rebuild. It is there that He shows you who you really are, what fiber you are made of, and most importantly, how much you are loved. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46 verse 1. Do you know what that means? That you don't have to face anything alone. That even when the whole world turns its back, God will be there, extending His hand, lifting you up. Maybe you feel like you are in a desert, but look with faith. God is able to make water flow from the rock and manna fall from the sky. What seems like the end is just the beginning. How many times in your life have you thought something was the end, only to discover later that it was the beginning of something better? God specializes in turning pages, in transforming sad endings into stories of overcoming. Perhaps now you are looking at a scene of ruins, but trust, God is able to rebuild everything from scratch and make it even more beautiful. What today seems like an irreparable loss, tomorrow could become your greatest blessing. Sometimes God allows us to lose what we love to give us what we really need. You may not understand it now, but later on everything will make sense. One day you will look back and realize that every pain, every delay, and every deviation from the path had a purpose. Think about the story of Job. He lost everything: family, possessions, health. His friends abandoned him, and even his faith was put to the test. But even in the midst of suffering, he never stopped trusting God. And what happened? God restored everything twice. Not only was Job blessed again, he was a living testimony to the power and faithfulness of God. Likewise, your story is still being written. The chapter that seems difficult now is just one part of a much larger plot. Don't judge the book by the page you are reading today. God is the author, and the ending will be beautiful. Faith is the key that opens doors. Faith is what sustains us when everything says it's time to give up. Faith is not just believing when everything is fine, faith is trusting when everything is going wrong. It's looking at a closed door and saying, "God, I know you have the right key." Sometimes miracles happen because you kept believing when everything seemed impossible. It's that prayer made on your knees in the silence of the early morning. It's that tear that no one saw, but that God wiped away. It's that last thread of hope that you held tight to, even when it seemed crazy. And here's something amazing: God honors the faith of those who don't give up. Remember the woman with the issue of blood, who for 12 years tried everything. She was rejected, humiliated, considered unclean. But she didn't give up. She knew that all she had to do was touch Jesus' clothes to be healed. And when she rang, Jesus said, "Your faith has saved you." This is the faith that moves mountains. The faith that makes the impossible happen. God sees every act of faith, no matter how small. He sees when you pray, even without strength. He sees when you struggle to believe, even in the face of difficulties. He sees when you give everything into His hands, even without understanding what is happening. And He will act. In His time, in His way, at the right time. Big things are coming. Sometimes the sky seems too dark before an extraordinary dawn. It's like a seed that is hidden in the ground, in the dark, without anyone seeing it. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. But down there, in the silence and solitude, the seed is preparing. She is growing, getting stronger. And when the time is right, it breaks through the earth and blooms. So are you. It may seem like nothing is changing, that your prayers are not being heard. But in the silence, God is working. He is preparing something so beautiful, so perfect, that it will be worth every second of waiting. Believe this: great things are coming. God is not a God of crumbs, He is a God of abundance. He wants to give you much more than you asked for or imagined. Maybe you are asking for something small, but God is preparing something big. Maybe you are expecting a blessing, but God is preparing a miracle. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or think, according to the power that works within us, Ephesians 3 verse 20. Trust until the end. God never promised you a life without battles, but He promised that He would be by your side in each one. He promised that victory would be His. And if God promised, you can be sure He will comply. No matter how difficult it is now, keep the faith. Trust in God's plans. He is leading you to a future of peace, joy, and abundance. Don't give up. Don't stop believing. Your life is not out of control. It is in the hands of the Creator of the universe. He sees you, He knows your struggle, and He is preparing the miracle you are waiting for. If things seem too difficult today, just close your eyes and say, "Lord, I trust in your plans. I know miracles and blessings are on the way." And keep walking. Why, the best is yet to come. Glowing star sparkles. When the heart gets tired, God restores strength. It's normal to feel the weight of life on your shoulders. There are times when even faith seems fragile, like a flame that struggles not to go out. Maybe you are in that exact place right now, tired, without the strength to continue. But listen to this with all your heart: God specializes in restoring the weary and lifting up the downcast. Jesus Himself gave us an invitation full of love and comfort. "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11 verse 28. Do you understand what He is saying? It doesn't matter the size of your load. It doesn't matter how far you've gone or how heavy your heart is. God is with open arms, waiting for you to surrender everything to Him. The pain, the fear, the doubt, the uncertainty, everything. Sometimes we think we need to solve everything on our own. We try to carry the whole world on our shoulders. But God never wanted it to be like this. He created us to depend on Him. He wants to be your refuge, your fortress, your peace in the midst of chaos. If you are tired, rest in God. Let Him renew your strength. Because the God you serve is the same one who made the weak become strong, the small overcome giants, and the impossible become reality. And there is something wonderful about trusting Him. When you surrender control, He takes action. Stories of faith that inspire. How many times have you heard stories that seemed unbelievable? People who no longer had hope, but who experienced the power of God and saw miracles happen. This is not a thing of the past. Miracles were not confined to the pages of the Bible. They keep happening every day. There is a transformative power in never give up on faith. Even when doctors say there's no other way, when the bills pile up and there's no money, or when loneliness tightens your chest, God can change everything in the blink of an eye. Think of Abraham and Sarah. God promised a son, but the years passed and the promise seemed impossible. Abraham was already 100 years old, Sarah 90. In human eyes, there was no longer a chance. But God is not limited by time, logic, or circumstances. He is the God of the impossible. And at the right time, Sarah gave birth to Isaac, the son of promise. This story teaches us something fundamental: God fulfills what He promises. It doesn't matter how long it takes. No matter how impossible it seems. If God promised, He will do it. And He continues to act like this in people's lives. Maybe you've been waiting a long time. Maybe the promises seem distant. But I tell you, don't give up now. Your miracle may be closer than you think. Prepare your heart for what God will do. Something you need to understand is that waiting is not wasted time. When you wait on God, you are being prepared. Sometimes God needs to work on you before He can work on the situation. He is teaching you patience, trust, and unshakable faith. David was anointed king when he was still a young shepherd. But he did not ascend the throne immediately. Before that, he faced giants, fled from enemies, and passed through many deserts. But do you know what David did? He continued to trust God. Even when everything seemed contrary, he knew that the God he promised was faithful. And when the time was right, David not only became king, but he was one of the greatest kings Israel ever had. What can we learn from this? Don't rush God's plans. He knows the right time for everything. While you wait, pray. Strengthen your faith. Prepare your heart to receive what He has for you. Because when God decides to act, nothing can stop it. God is working behind the scenes. Maybe now you don't see anything happening. It seems that your prayers are stopped in heaven, that the doors remain closed, and that silence is the only answer. But here's the secret: God works in the invisible. Imagine a theater. Before the show starts, there is a lot of movement behind the scenes. Sets are assembled, costumes prepared, lights adjusted. From the outside, the public sees none of this. It seems like everything is at a standstill. But inside, in the occult, things are being prepared. So it is with God. He is behind the scenes in your life, aligning everything at the right time. People you don't know yet, opportunities you haven't seen yet, doors you didn't even know existed, everything is being prepared by Him. God is detailed. He takes care of every little detail of your life. So even if you don't understand now, trust, the show has yet to begin, and your victory will be beautiful. Miracles will come, be ready to receive them. One important thing about miracles is that you need to be ready to receive them. Sometimes we ask God for things, but we don't prepare our hearts for what we are asking for. Do you want a new opportunity? So be prepared to take advantage of it. Are you praying for restoration? So be willing to forgive. Do you want a financial change? So start acting wisely. God blesses those who prepare themselves, who demonstrate faith through their actions. It's not enough to just ask, you need to position yourself. God honors those who act in faith, even before they see the miracle happen. It's like rain, you can ask God to make it rain, but you have to prepare the soil to receive the water. Faith is not passive, it is active. It moves us, makes us act, and makes us believe that the miracle is on the way. The final promise. God brought you here to tell you, don't give up. Even if things seem difficult, even if you don't see a way out, miracles and blessings are on the way. He promised to never leave you and never forsake you. And He will do it. The tears you shed were not in vain. The prayers you prayed in silence will be answered. And the desert you crossed will be transformed into a garden of blessings. Remember, the God who began the good work in your life is faithful to complete it. So, rise up today with hope in your heart. Declare in faith, I trust in God's plans. I know miracles are coming my way. Victory is mine in the name of Jesus. And know that, in time, you will look back and understand it was worth the wait. Glowing star, God is acting. Believe, trust, and prepare for the miracle. Person with praying hands sparkles. The dawn is coming. Every dark night has an end. Every desert has a way out. Every storm passes one day. And in the midst of all this, what matters most is your faith. Believe, dawn is coming. You may have cried during the night, but God's promise is clear. Weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30 verse 5. This joy that God promises is not temporary, it is a joy that heals wounds, that restores dreams, and that restores hope. When the day dawns and you look back, you will see that God was by your side the whole time. Pain that seemed purposeless will turn into a powerful testimony. Your victory will not just be yours, it will serve to inspire and strengthen other lives that also need hope. So don't give up. Don't stop halfway. Believe until the end. Why miracles and blessings are on the way, and God is faithful to fulfill every promise He has made in your life. Share hope. If this message touched your heart, if you felt like these words spoke directly to you, then bring that hope to other people. Be a channel of blessings. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, share with your friends and family, and activate the notification bell. This way, you not only stay up to date with inspiring messages like this, but you also help spread faith, hope, and love to more people. Remember, you can be the answer someone needs today. With a simple share, you can make a difference in someone's life. Trust in God's plans, because miracles and blessings are on the way. Your victory is coming. And the best is yet to come. Person with praying hands sparkles. May God bless you greatly. Until the next message. Glowing star.